Beloved one, something unusual has been happening around your life lately, and you have felt it, even if you could not fully explain it. There has been a strange awareness around your steps, a quiet tension in ordinary moments, as if the atmosphere around your life has shifted slightly. It is not loud. It is not obvious. But deep inside, your spirit has been whispering that something is different. Maybe you noticed it when you spoke about a plan only once, casually, and later someone mentioned it as if they had already heard it somewhere else. Maybe you shared a small thought with only one person, and somehow that same idea began appearing in conversations with people who should never have known. And part of you tried to dismiss it, telling yourself you were probably overthinking. But your heart kept returning to the same quiet question. How did they know that? Listen carefully, because what you have been sensing is not imagination. There are moments in life when patterns begin to form, and those patterns reveal truths that coincidence cannot explain. Human intuition is not random. In fact, behavioral studies show that nearly 72% of people who later discover they were being closely observed first experienced subtle feelings of being watched long before the evidence appeared. At first it feels small, just a strange timing here, a repeated phrase there. But then the moments begin stacking together like pieces of a puzzle. Someone repeats words you remember saying privately. Someone asks questions that seem too specific to be accidental. Someone reacts to your decisions before you even announce them publicly. And slowly, the realization begins forming in the back of your mind. Something about this is not normal. There is also another sign you may have felt recently. Certain people around you suddenly seem unusually curious about details of your life. They ask about your schedule, your plans, your progress, or the direction you are heading. At first the questions appear harmless. After all, curiosity is normal between friends, co-workers, or even family. But sometimes curiosity has a different energy behind it, an energy that studies rather than celebrates. You may have felt that difference without being able to put it into words. Perhaps you noticed someone carefully listening when you spoke about future plans, not with excitement, but with a quiet attentiveness that felt almost investigative. Or maybe someone casually repeated something you said weeks ago, a detail you barely remembered mentioning, and you wondered silently why they remembered it so clearly. Beloved one, these small moments are often dismissed because people assume life moves too quickly for anyone to pay that much attention. But the truth is, observation does not always happen loudly. Some of the most careful watching happens quietly, without confrontation, without announcement, and without you realizing it immediately. And that quiet observation creates the uneasy atmosphere you have been sensing lately. The feeling that something in your environment is studying your movements, noticing your decisions, and paying attention to your steps more closely than you expected. You might walk into a room and sense a subtle shift in the conversation. You might hear your own words repeated in a different voice days later. You might even notice that certain people suddenly appear informed about parts of your life you never publicly shared. There is a reason your spirit feels unsettled when these moments occur. Deep within human psychology is an instinct designed to detect patterns in social behavior. When someone begins observing another person with unusual attention, that pattern slowly reveals itself through tiny inconsistencies. A question asked at the wrong moment. A reaction that comes too quickly. A comment that reveals knowledge they should not possess. Individually, these moments seem insignificant. But together they form something unmistakable. And this is why that quiet awareness has been growing inside you lately. Your mind may have tried to ignore it, but your spirit recognized the pattern long before your thoughts could explain it. Think back for a moment. There may have been a time recently when you mentioned an idea, maybe a goal you were considering, a change you were planning, or a decision you were quietly thinking about. Later, someone brought up the same topic in a strangely familiar way, almost as if they had rehearsed the conversation in advance. Or perhaps you noticed that when you began moving in a new direction, certain people suddenly seemed prepared for that move, as though they had been anticipating it. Moments like these can feel confusing, because they do not always appear threatening on the surface. In fact, they often hide behind normal conversation, casual curiosity, and everyday interactions. But when enough of these moments begin appearing, the atmosphere around your life starts to feel different. The ancient wisdom recorded in Psalm 64 verse 5 once described people who encourage each other in hidden plans and discuss laying snares secretly. The verse does not say these actions always appear obvious at first. In fact, the language itself suggests something quiet, something concealed, something that operates beneath ordinary conversation. That kind of hidden observation has existed throughout human history. People watch. People analyze. People gather information without announcing their intentions. And sometimes the person being observed senses the shift long before anyone else notices it. What you have been feeling recently is that subtle shift, the quiet awareness that someone, somewhere in your environment, has been paying closer attention to your life than you expected. Not necessarily confronting you. Not openly opposing you. Simply watching. Studying. Listening. And the strange part is that this observation often becomes noticeable only through small reflections of your own life appearing in unexpected places. Your words echoing through someone else's voice. Your ideas appearing in someone else's conversation. Your plans somehow becoming known before you ever announced them. But here is the part many people overlook when these moments begin appearing: observation rarely happens without a reason. People do not invest attention into someone else's life without motive. Attention is energy, and energy follows intention. When someone watches another person's movements closely, it usually means they are trying to understand something: your direction, your decisions, your influence, or your next step. And that is why the atmosphere around your life has felt slightly different lately. Because attention has quietly turned in your direction. Perhaps you tried to dismiss it. Perhaps you told yourself it was just coincidence. After all, life is full of random overlaps and repeated conversations. But when the same types of moments begin appearing again and again, coincidence slowly loses its explanation. Patterns begin replacing chance. And once patterns appear, the truth behind them eventually reveals itself. Beloved one, the feeling you have been sensing was not meant to frighten you. It was meant to awaken your awareness. Because while someone may have been quietly observing your life, another presence has been observing something far more important: the intentions behind that observation. And what heaven revealed about the one watching you changed everything. Beloved one, when heaven began revealing the truth behind that quiet observation, the first thing that became clear was something many people rarely expect. The one watching your steps is not standing far away from your life. They are not some distant stranger studying you from the shadows. In fact, the unsettling reality is much closer than that. The person observing your movements has learned how to appear completely normal in your presence. When you speak with them, nothing about their tone seems threatening. When you see them, their behavior feels ordinary, even friendly. They greet you, listen to you, and sometimes even encourage you. But hidden beneath that normal behavior is a careful attention that studies more than it celebrates. This is what makes quiet observers difficult to recognize. They rarely oppose you openly. They rarely criticize you directly. Instead, they remain calm, polite, and attentive. They blend into conversations so smoothly that you never suspect their deeper focus. But if you watch carefully, certain patterns begin appearing in their reactions. For example, when you share good news about progress in your life, their response often becomes unusually quiet. They do not necessarily react negatively, but the excitement you expected simply does not appear. The room grows slightly silent. Their expression changes for a brief moment before they quickly return to a neutral tone. Another behavior often appears in subtle questions. These questions sound harmless on the surface. They might casually ask about your next plan, your next move, or what you are thinking about doing in the coming weeks. But if you pay attention, the questions are often more specific than normal curiosity. They ask about details that allow them to understand your direction. They listen carefully when you speak about opportunities, decisions, or progress. And over time, those questions begin forming a quiet map of your life, a map that helps them predict your next steps before others even notice them. Sometimes the observation even extends into social spaces. A person who quietly watches your life may monitor conversations around you, pay attention to what others say about you, or follow updates about your progress more closely than they admit. They rarely announce this attention directly. Instead, it appears through small comments that reveal they already know more than they should. They reference something you mentioned weeks ago. They bring up a topic you barely shared publicly. And slowly, the pattern begins to show that their awareness of your life is deeper than casual interest. Human behavior experts often recognize this pattern. In fact, psychologists say nearly 68% of people driven by envy or silent comparison intentionally hide their observation behind friendly or neutral behavior. They do not confront the person they are studying because confrontation would expose their intentions. Instead, they remain close enough to gather information while appearing supportive on the surface. Even ancient wisdom warned about this kind of presence. The old writings remind us that not everyone who smiles beside you celebrates your rise. Some people observe quietly, measuring every step, trying to understand where your path might lead. Their attention may look harmless, but their curiosity often has a deeper motive. And when heaven revealed why this person has been watching you so closely, the truth was far more serious than simple jealousy. Beloved one, the moment heaven began revealing the deeper truth behind this quiet observation, something powerful became clear: you are not alone in this situation. The presence watching your life may have believed their attention was hidden, unnoticed, and beyond accountability. But what they never realized is that every moment they studied your steps, another presence was studying something far more important: their intentions. While someone has been carefully watching your movements, your decisions, and your progress, heaven has been watching the heart behind their attention. What appeared hidden on the surface has never been invisible above. This is why you began sensing that subtle awareness inside your spirit earlier than you could logically explain. Your intuition was not simply reacting to human behavior. It was responding to spiritual awareness that something significant was unfolding around your life. There is an ancient promise recorded in Psalm 121 verse 8, which declares that the Lord watches over your going out and your coming in, both now and forever. This means your steps are never unnoticed by heaven. Every direction you take, every decision you consider, and every moment someone quietly studies your life has already been seen from a perspective far greater than human observation. The person watching you may believe they are gathering information privately, but heaven has already recorded the intention behind every glance, every question, and every silent moment of analysis. This is where the story begins to change direction, beloved one. Because what might appear threatening at first often reveals something entirely different when seen through the eyes of divine awareness. Attention rarely gathers around an ordinary path. People do not study movements that lead nowhere. Observation follows significance. In psychology, researchers often notice a similar pattern in social behavior. Studies show that individuals who carry unusual resilience, quiet confidence, or uncommon focus often attract silent observers without realizing it. Their direction stands out. Their decisions create curiosity. Their progress disrupts expectations. And sometimes the attention surrounding a person says more about their future than it does about their present circumstances. That is why this moment should not be interpreted only as a warning. It is also a confirmation. Because the pattern forming around your life is not random. It is the same pattern that has followed many individuals throughout history when their path begins shifting towards something greater than the environment around them expected. When a person begins moving with purpose, people naturally start watching. Some watch out of curiosity. Some watch out of comparison. And some watch because they sense change before they fully understand it. But heaven sees something deeper than all of those reactions. There is another ancient proverb recorded in Proverbs 26 verse 27, which says that whoever digs a pit for another will eventually fall into it themselves. And in Ecclesiastes 10 verse 8, wisdom repeats a similar warning, that those who set traps often become caught in the very outcome they planned for others. These words were written long before modern psychology existed, yet they reveal a timeless truth about human behavior. Intentions always carry consequences. When someone studies another person with harmful expectation, they often end up revealing more about their own heart than about the one they are watching. So while someone may have quietly examined your actions, heaven has quietly examined their motives. Every reaction. Every silent comparison. Every hidden expectation behind their observation. And here is the deeper truth that many people overlook. Attention often gathers around individuals who are being positioned for something larger than their current environment understands. This is why you may have noticed that certain people watch your progress more closely than they watch others. They study your decisions. They analyze your movement. They listen carefully when you speak about future direction. Not because you are ordinary, but because something about your path feels significant enough to study. This attention, beloved one, is not random. It is the pattern that often follows individuals who are being prepared for something greater than the people around them expected. History repeatedly shows that when someone begins stepping into a new level of purpose, attention, both supportive and suspicious, tends to appear around them. But what surprised heaven most about the one watching your life was not the fact that they were observing you. It was the reason they were waiting so patiently. Because the truth is, they were not simply watching your progress. They were waiting for something to happen. Beloved one, when heaven uncovered the deeper motive behind the one watching your life, the truth was not as mysterious as it first seemed. Their attention was not random curiosity, and it was not innocent observation. The reason they have been studying your steps so carefully is because they have been waiting for a moment, a single moment where they believe you might stumble. Quiet observers often do not interfere directly with someone's progress. Instead, they wait patiently, believing that sooner or later everyone makes a mistake. And when that moment appears, they plan to use it as confirmation for every silent judgment they have already formed in their mind. This is why their attention has been so consistent. They are not watching to celebrate your growth. They are watching to see if your progress will collapse. They listen closely, hoping to hear something they can question later. They observe your decisions, waiting to see if one of them will fail. And if that failure ever appears, they are prepared to turn that moment into a story that spreads faster than the truth itself. Because for some people, information about another person's mistake becomes fuel for conversation, validation for their doubts, and justification for the quiet criticism they never spoke aloud. Real life is filled with examples of this behavior. Sometimes the watcher is a coworker who pays careful attention to your work, silently comparing every success and waiting for the day something goes wrong. They might ask small questions about your projects, not because they are interested in helping, but because they are gathering details that could later explain a failure if one appears. Other times the observer may be a relative who listens closely whenever family conversations mention your progress. They collect information, remembering each update about your life so they can measure whether your path rises or falls over time. And occasionally the watcher is simply an acquaintance who studies your behavior, quietly copying certain choices while also watching for evidence that your direction might eventually collapse. Human psychology has studied this pattern for decades. Researchers often describe it as silent comparison behavior, when individuals monitor another person's life because that person's progress challenges their own expectations. In fact, behavioral studies suggest that nearly 80% of silent critics wait for a single visible mistake before revealing their true attitude toward someone's success. Until that moment appears, they remain calm and neutral. But the instant they believe the person has fallen, their hidden opinions suddenly become loud. This is why wisdom is so important in moments like this. The response to quiet observation is not fear, and it is not confrontation. The response is awareness. When someone watches your life closely, your greatest protection is not explaining every move you make. Your greatest protection is learning when silence protects your direction better than explanation. Oversharing your plans gives unnecessary information to people who may not celebrate your journey. Strategic silence allows your path to unfold without interference from those waiting for failure. Ancient wisdom spoke about this long before modern psychology recognized it. Proverbs 4:23 advises us to guard our heart carefully, because everything in life flows from it. Guarding the heart also means guarding the information that surrounds your decisions. Not every plan needs public explanation. Not every step needs an audience. And not every observer deserves full access to your thoughts. Another teaching appears in Matthew 10 verse 16, where wisdom encourages people to be wise as serpents and gentle as doves. In other words, maintain peace in your behavior, but remain sharp in your awareness. Observe the environment around you just as carefully as others observe you. Pay attention to patterns. Notice who celebrates your progress and who simply studies it. Because the truth, beloved one, is that the one watching your life believes they are patiently waiting for the moment you fall. But the moment they expected you to fall, is about to become the moment heaven exposes everything. Beloved one, when heaven finally revealed the full truth about the one who has been quietly watching your life, the message was not one of fear. It was a message of clarity. Because while someone may have believed they were studying your every move unnoticed, they failed to understand one powerful reality: no human observation ever escapes divine awareness. Every glance, every silent comparison, every hidden expectation was already seen long before it could affect your path. They believed they were watching you carefully, measuring your progress, waiting for the moment something would collapse. But what they never realized is that the same moment they began observing you, heaven began documenting them. They thought they were studying you. But heaven was studying their intentions. This is the quiet reversal that often happens when someone watches another person's life with the wrong motive. The attention they direct outward slowly exposes what lies inside their own heart. While they analyzed your decisions, heaven analyzed their expectations. While they waited for failure, heaven examined their patience for the wrong reason. And while they believed their observation remained hidden, every moment was already known. That is why this message is not asking you to confront them. It is not calling you to expose them publicly or argue with them directly. In fact, wisdom often moves in the opposite direction. The most powerful response to hidden observation is calm focus. Stay peaceful. Stay steady. Stay focused on the direction heaven is guiding you toward. Because the truth is this: people who quietly watch your life often reveal themselves over time without you ever needing to expose them. Their reactions eventually speak louder than their silence. Their attitudes eventually become visible through their behavior. And when that moment arrives, others begin seeing what heaven already knew from the beginning. So do not allow suspicion to distract you from your purpose. Continue walking forward with clarity and confidence. Continue building quietly. Continue growing steadily. Sometimes the most powerful protection over your life is simply refusing to give unnecessary attention to those who study you for the wrong reasons. There is a deep spiritual insight many people learn only through experience. Silence often protects the plans God is still writing. When every step of your life is explained publicly, it gives unnecessary access to those who may not understand your journey. But when your direction unfolds quietly, the results speak louder than any explanation ever could. And now, beloved one, take a moment to center your heart as we seal this message in prayer. Heavenly Father, I lift up the person listening to these words right now. You see their life completely. You see every step they have taken, every decision they have considered, and every moment when they felt uncertain about the atmosphere around them. Lord, you also see every hidden intention surrounding their path. Nothing escapes your sight. Every observer, every critic, every silent comparison has already been known to you. Father, I ask that you surround this beloved soul with divine protection. Guard their path from hidden harm. Protect their reputation from words spoken with the wrong motive. Silence every voice that waits for their downfall and replace it with the truth of your purpose over their life. Give them wisdom to recognize what deserves their attention and what should simply be left in your hands. Fill their heart with calm confidence so they do not move with fear, but with clarity. Teach them when to speak and when to remain silent. Strengthen their focus so that no hidden observer can distract them from the future you are preparing for them. And now let this declaration rise with faith. Every hidden observer with harmful intention is removed from my path. Every silent plan designed to damage my progress loses its power. Every moment of quiet comparison turns into confirmation that God is guiding my steps. What heaven has protected, no human intention can destroy. Beloved one, if this message reached you at the exact moment you needed clarity, you may feel it deeply in your spirit right now. Sometimes a message arrives not by accident but by perfect timing. If these words resonated with your heart, you can leave a quiet Amen below, and stay connected for more messages that strengthen your journey of faith. And always remember this truth as you continue moving forward. The one watching your steps believed they were studying your life carefully. But they never realized heaven was watching theirs the entire time.